Greetings, and welcome to you all. Good evening and happy Thursday to you. This is Rob McCray for the Business Building Network, welcoming welcoming you to the latest edition of The Come Up, the Rise of the Entrepreneurs. And today I'm very excited. We have a very special guest, someone that is near and dear to me. He is none other than my nephew, Antonio McCray, and he's going to come on and talk about the trucking industry, the trucking business, and what it all takes to have and create a very successful business within the trucking industry. So this is it's going to be a great opportunity for those of you that are interested in getting into the trucking industry, or you may already be in the trucking industry. It's going to be a great opportunity for you to learn some different tips and strategies, learn from his experiences and some of those mistakes that he made that he's going to share with us, and kind to speed up the process going forward so you won't have to endure those same type of mistakes when you're going out and starting your business. So if you know of someone that is interested in starting a trucking business or has a trucking business, please, by all means, like this and share it out with them. Make sure you tag them in it. There's going to be a ton of information going forward in this discussion. Tina, my sis, how are you? Thank you for joining us. We also have Shirley May and Willie Earl on our YouTube side. Good evening. Thank you all for joining us. We're going to be bringing out our guest in just a few moments. But before I do that, I just want to share a little information about him before we're going to bring him on board with us. So, once again, his name is Antonio McCray. He is happily married for the last 9 years. It'll be 9 years in November, to his lovely wife, Yasmin McCray. And they have three beautiful children, two boys and one girl. And they reside in Middletown, Pennsylvania. Antonio has been in the trucking industry for the last 14 years. He's been driving a truck for himself and with a company as well. And he has been doing his own trucking business for the past 6 years. So Antonio graduated from Windsor Trucking School, and he was off and running from there. Antonio is also an ordained minister, youth pastor, and prophet. And as a part of his calling, he makes it his business to speak the word to those that are willing to listen. And he always encourages others to be great in anything in which we choose to do. So, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, without further ado, if you will get your emoji claps ready, and let's give a warm welcome to Antonio McCray.
Hello.
Antonio, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. Good to see you, brother.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to see
Mhm.
you.
All right. So, yeah, I know you're a very busy man, and I know anytime you have a business, especially something dealing with trucking, it's 24/7 nonstop. So, we're not going to try to hold you up too long, but we just want to get your insight and share some thoughts and information about how the whole trucking industry works. So, we're going to be getting into that in just a few minutes. Sister Evelyn, hello, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining us. But before we get into the trucking side of it, we want to get to know a little bit more about you and your family. So, if you will, tell us about your upbringing, where you were born and raised, if you had any siblings, if you had both parents in the household. What was that whole dynamic for you as a child growing up?
Okay. So I was born in Newark, New Jersey,
Hmm.
and my upbringing was a single parent home. with my mother.
Okay.
I do have siblings, and my siblings are much younger than myself, um, 13, 14.
Okay.
Um, so that's pretty much what my upbringing was. Uh, Lived in quite a few places. We moved around a lot. So
Yes.
um, if somebody was to ask me where was I from, it's almost everywhere. We moved around so much, me and
Yeah.
my mother.
Right.
But yeah,
Mm.
so I always claim Irvington as my home because that's
Yes.
where my grandmother and
Right.
my uncle,
Hmm.
took me in at, and so that's where I would consider my major growth and development took place.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that is home. Our stomping ground. We spent quite a few years, some good years together, and it was a journey. It was a
Yeah,
journey. That built us into the young men that we are today. So yeah, we're very proud of that. Very proud of that. All right, so let's get into your trucking business. And well,
mm,
before we get into the business side of it, um, how did you actually get started in trucking? What made you decide to take that route?
okay. So initially, once it was time for me to look for a career, I was
Hmm.
viewing different options, and computers was something that was major for me.
Okay.
But right about that time, there wasn't really that much going on as far as the computers were going.
Hmm.
Then I was thinking about being a diesel mechanic, but the schooling for it was very, very expensive. So the next thing after that was trucking.
Okay. All right. So tell us about your first couple of experiences when you first started out trucking and driving for someone else.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, my first trucking company that I worked for was Warner Enterprises,
Okay.
and Big Blue Trucks, and that was quite a bit of experience where it wasn't really much pay. It was more of a thing of just kind of um, they call it paying your dues, but it
Yeah.
was good because I got a chance to see the country. I got a
Okay.
chance to see things that I never seen before.
Hmm.
My experiences with it was actually rough,
Yeah.
um, because trucking was not really something that I had much experience in prior to going into it. So one of the things that I think stuck out to me about it was I remember when I was in Ohio, and I actually was called to go into the terminal,
Hmm.
and I had made a big U-turn, and I had ran over like a boulder, and it had punctured a hole in the side of the tank.
Uh,
And so I was driving, and it
mm,
was about to let me go because I was having a whole bunch of issues,
wow.
So when I was in the office, the police came and they said, "We're looking for whoever drove this truck number. Who truck number is that?" So they pointed to me,
Ooh, uh,
and he said, "Do you know?" He said, "Did you make a U-turn or a turn somewhere around, the road down there?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You want to know how I knew?"
uh,
I said, "No. How did you know?" He said, "You was leaking diesel fluid all the way from where you made the U-turn to here."
yeah.
And so he took me outside and he asked me, he said, "You look very young." He said, "Do you like truck driving?" I
He said
said,
what?
"Yeah, I enjoy it." And he said, "Well,
Okay.
I'm going to give you," he said, "Do you like truck driving?" And I said,
Mhm.
"Yeah, I do enjoy it." And he said, "Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this kind of slide. Instead of it being a reckless driving, I'm going to lower
Uh-huh.
it to something that had no points and pretty much was just a warning." So
Wow. Oh,
my experience with trucking did not start with much success. It started
uh-huh.
with quite a bit of problems.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta got baptized into it. So like, yeah, welcome to the
Yeah,
party. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
it's it's not a fun and games.
Yeah.
So yeah, you had to find your way and go through the process. Sister
Huge
Laverne,
adjustment.
yeah. How are you, sis? Good to have you on board. Yeah. So all right. So you started out with that company. How long were you with them?
Oh, I probably made it there for about 2 or 3 months.
Oh wow.
Not long.
Okay. All
Hmm.
right. And then from there.
Then I worked for a moving company. What
Okay.
was it? Father and Son, right there in Newark, off of Freelandhausen. I
Okay.
think that is. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I was there for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and it got better from there.
Okay.
But that was a lot different than working with Warner because you were moving furniture. So you was driving and moving furniture, and then from there it was NYCE, which I would consider my first real trucking job, where I really got the experience and got the grooming, and you know,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So what was the determining factor in making you decide to say, well, if I'm really going to do this trucking thing, I need to have my own truck and maybe start my own business? What was that point?
Well, the thing about it is, I'm going to answer that two ways. One, when I started hearing about how much money that owner operators were making,
Yes.
that was a good incentive, for me to do it,
Yep.
because I knew that I enjoyed it. I enjoyed driving. I liked what I was doing and what I was experiencing, so I wanted to take it to the next level. And then the next level after that was what started AM Truck Enterprises was two of my friends had came to me the same day. They didn't know each other,
Mm.
and I'll say maybe like 100 miles apart from each other. And they asked me if they could run under my numbers. And when the first person asked me, I said no, because I had a really good thing going on, where I was picking up loads in Denver, Pennsylvania, running it over to Carlisle. Might have been an hour and a half drive.
Mm.
I would do that about 2 times a day, and I was done. So I had something really, really good. But when the second driver called me, and the second person asked me, I perceived that this was a destiny move. That was something that was supposed to happen, because they pretty much called me back to back. They didn't know each other, 100 miles apart. And when the second person called, then I decided that, you know what, I think this is something that I'm supposed to do. And then I took the step
All right.
forward.
All right. So let's back up. All right. So now you have your own truck.
Hmm.
We getting a little echo. Do you have all your volume on one of your devices?
No, all volumes were off.
Okay. All right. So now you talk about people wanting to go and drive underneath your numbers, your MC numbers. So explain that to our audience that doesn't know what that really means.
Okay, so when you have your own numbers, you have your own authority. And at that point, you become a motor carrier, such as Warner, Snyder, JB Hunt. Those are what we call in the trucker world numbers. So basically, I already had my own company, but I was my own driver. And so basically, exactly, an owner operator. And then they wanted to know, hey, can we partner with you, run with your numbers and, make some extra money like that. And so that's what it means when you have your own numbers. Your own numbers mean that you have your own authority. You are a motor carrier,
Mm-hmm.
and you have the ability to um, generate more income, but also on top of that, you have the ability to um, um, take on people and help them out with their endeavors and kind of disperse money a little bit more differently than you would being leased onto another company.
Okay. All right. I see. Yeah, Yasmin said she's logging off. She thinks it may be from her, but no, Yasmin, you don't have to log off. That's not from you. The echo's not coming from you. It's got to be something in the same room with Antonio. So don't log off. Yeah, Tony, just check to make sure the volume is muted on any other device showing the live that we're doing.
Okay. All the other devices are off now.
Okay.
I just turned them off.
All right. So let me see now. Okay, so these guys wanted to run underneath your authority.
Yeah.
But you weren't quite ready to make that move as of yet, correct?
Right. Right.
All right. So let's talk about that. Because this is where things start to get a little tricky. So you as an individual, as your own owner operator, you're just responsible for yourself, your truck, picking up your loads and delivering, and then you're good, right?
Yeah.
But then when other people want to come on board, they want to use your numbers, run underneath your numbers, meaning that you are responsible for them and the work that they're doing. So any mishaps that happen or any violations that occur while they're driving, it's going to fall on you because they're driving underneath your numbers, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So yeah, this where things start to get a little dicey. So you have to be very careful and selective with the people that you're going to start to bring on, who are going to be operating within your business. The money could be good, it could be very good, but there could be a lot of repercussions from bringing on the wrong individuals as well, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so talk to us a little bit about that and how that whole dynamic works.
Oh, wow. Okay, so the term owner operator deals with the fact that you have a truck. That's your truck, whether you're financing it, leasing it, or renting it. Um, the idea that is that that truck is going to belong to you. Now, you can have your own truck, but not necessarily have your own authority. So you can own the truck and then you can lease on to a carrier. And once somebody has their truck and they lease onto a carrier, the responsibility of the driver in the truck now becomes the motor carrier's responsibility. So, and it's reflective on that motor carrier. So when a driver is speeding, it goes on their CDL, but it also counts against the motor carrier. When the driver is not keeping up with their logs, it goes against the driver, but it also reflects the motor carrier. So the motor carrier in terms is like you are responsible pretty much for that individual. Even though that truck is not yours as the motor carrier, you're responsible for that truck and you're responsible for that driver and making sure that all of the paperwork, the maintenance, and that everything is the way that it's supposed to be.
Okay, very good. All right. So tell us about some of the mistakes that you made when you initially started out in your business, so that will help others that are looking to start their business or maybe already have started to, find a way to avoid making those same type of mistakes.
I would say the main thing is that make sure you protect yourself out there. I think that um, as a business owner, it's always your goal to see people make money, be happy, and prosper. At least that's what my heart always is with it.
Mm.
But you got to have stuff in place to protect yourself and to protect your business because, as I stated before, you have people that are running under your numbers and your authority that you're responsible for.
Right.
So if you're carrying the weight of this responsibility,
Hmm.
but you don't have enough in place to protect yourself and your business and your investments, you're going to lose it. And you can lose it not because of anything that you have done inadvertently or directly, but just simply because of the people that you have taken on. So, so a vetting process is very important. You want to look over your numbers, based upon, what are you paying these guys? Because as a motor carrier,
Hmm.
you're responsible for pretty much what they, the way that they make their money. Is it going to be per mile? Is it going to be by percentage? Is it going to be by salary? Is it going to
Okay.
be by stop? So the goal is to kind of to see where your business is and to see what's going to be the best fit for how that operation is and how you're paying your drivers. My drivers make a lot of money, so
Hmm.
there's very little room for oops, or mistakes.
Right.
When it comes to the trucking, is lucrative. There's a lot of money to be made easily, but there's very little room for oops. The USDOT is not very forgiving with things. Auditors are not very forgiving. So you want to make sure that you have things in place to protect. I would say that was um, uh, my biggest mistake was um, not having enough to protect myself, and then not only that, not knowing how to protect
Hmm.
myself, not knowing how to word things in a certain kind of way so that so that when it's written down on paper and that when it's signed, that that there's a clear distinction of it.
Okay. All right. So when you first started taking on drivers in that first year, how many drivers did you actually take on to run underneath your authority?
That
Approximately.
first year, I'll say probably about 3 or 4,
Okay.
somewhere around there.
All right. So were you also responsible for finding loads for them, or were they doing that on their own?
Um, my company has gone through quite a few dynamics. We had a contract with First Call where they actually supplied the work, and what happened um, is that when we had signed up with them, we were doing 100% Amazon stuff, so
Okay.
they were dispatching the loads to us. They were getting a percentage. We was getting what we was getting, and then the drivers were getting what they were. So it was a good fit because everybody was making money across the board. Then what happened was there was some things that started to take place and change for that where it wasn't enough work for my drivers. They were not satisfied with it. So then, um, so then what we started to do was we started to actually start going to the load board, and I started giving guys the options of, well, you can pick your own loads, or either we can find the loads for you, whatever you feel more comfortable.
Hmm.
So we did quite a bit of adjusting and maneuvering as the years went by.
Okay. All right. So who were some mentors and coaches for you that helped you in getting your business off the ground and then taking it to that next level?
Well, you, Rob McCray,
Thank you.
um, um, Keith Greer.
Okay.
He was a manager at a not a trucking company, at a warehouse, so he understood logistics pretty well.
Hmm.
Um, for me, there was really nobody that I knew that was doing what I was doing. I didn't really have a model or a pattern to follow after exactly. You know what I mean?
Right.
Besides me working for previous companies, but the way that they were, everything is kept so silent in how they found loads, what they paid, whatever. It was just simply, um, this is what you get paid.
Right.
When we tell you to pick this up and deliver it, that's what you do, and that's what you was at. There was no definition and defining on it. Um, so with me, it wasn't necessarily trial and error, but it was taking the time to really research what was going on behind the scenes, and then looking at my current situation and saying, okay, now how can I um, how can I tweak this to make it so that it fits my company? Because every company dynamic is a little bit different. Once again, the way. So basically, when I started, um, um, you were getting paid by the mile.
Okay.
So my company driver is paid by percentage and salary.
Okay.
So when I started off with Warner, I was making 26 cents a mile. So I would work 7 days a week, drive all over the place, and my biggest paycheck was probably like $400 or $500 for the whole week, working 7 days a week. And for every week that you was out, you earned one day home. So if you work for 3 weeks straight, you earned 3 days home, and you was back out again. So once I started understanding once I started understanding how this worked, I started figuring out, well, you know what? I can pay my driver a percentage. And so because the goal of my company is to create business owners and to help them if they want to get their trucks and they want to get their own MC numbers, everything is up front. You see what the rate cons are. You see what stuff is paying. There's nothing hidden. So if I paid somebody by the mile, so like for example, my driver that works with my truck, last week he made average $1.05 a mile.
Okay.
Now, when I started, I was making 26 cents a mile.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Big difference.
And so when I was working for NYCE, I was making $20 an hour, which they downgraded it to 18.
What?
Yeah. And when I calculated what my driver was making, my driver was calculated making $90 an hour and 90 cents.
Yeah. Wow.
So you figure I never count the time. Loading and unloading time is actually working because you're just sitting there. You can eat, you could take a nap.
Right.
It's not much work with that. But my driver was pretty much averaging driving 2-3 hours a day. So through the whole week, he was only driving 18 hours for the whole week.
Wow.
And he was taking home $1,000. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So understanding the logistics of the trucking company, you can see where there's a lot of money to be made and why bigger companies get bigger, and why they don't make it easy with you with all of the rules and regulations and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
But I had to find out, well, this is how I make my company, this is how I tweak it. So instead of giving them by miles, well, my drivers don't drive no miles. And I don't want to send my trucks all the way to California and back to New Jersey. That's ridiculous.
Right.
It's better just to have them go from PA to New Jersey to run the tri-state area and make that kind of money. Is a much better. So for me, it made more sense to pay him by the rate or to give him a salary.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, man, when I look at your business and how you pay your drivers, them guys, they don't have nothing to complain about because you really do go above and beyond. And you pay them guys way better than anybody else that's out there. I'm going to tell you that straight up. So,
Thank you.
them guys have no complaints about, how you treat them and, the salary that you're enable them to make for themselves. So it's just up to them if they're willing to put in the time and the hours to really make a good living for themselves.
Yeah.
So, I just want to say, I'm in a process of expanding my business. I only have one truck as of now, which is a small box truck. I'm not into the tractors and trailers like what you're doing, but you've been a great help, inspiration, and mentor to me in trying to build my business and take it up to the next level. So you've been working with me over the past couple of weeks now, in trying to get my next truck, and then we're going to run it out of your area up in Harrisburg over there, and then I'm going to bring on a driver to run through that area. You know, yeah, and so when we look at Antonio's business, his trucking business, he is very tactful in what he does. He is very organized in so much detail in everything that he does. I went over to your house last week just to study underneath you and see the whole physical business, the office setup, and how you conduct things with your dispatcher, your payroll assistant, and everybody that you have on your team. And I was just very impressed with your whole operation, man, and the way you're doing things. It just inspired me even more to go out and continue to pursue this. And really going to make some dynamic things happen within the next couple of months here, and I'm really looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So thank
uh,
you. Thank you.
I find that a system is everything,
Yeah.
and um, once a person can develop a system that works for them,
Right.
and I think that's one of the keys. Is a lot of times people say, well, to develop a system, they'll try and give you how they do it, and it might not necessarily work. I think everybody's a little different. So then it's like, well, what is it that works, for you? What is it that works for me?
Yep.
You know, um, so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. See, my brother Shala B was on. You running under your own authority. Yeah. Good looking, brother. Keep pushing, man. Make it happen, brother. Yeah, it's money to be made out here. We just gotta, put our system together, put our resources together, and work with one another to help us build and grow and do great things. Another thing that I want to share is that me and Antonio, we came together with a couple of other our friends, brothers, and we had a meeting, a kind of meeting of the minds. We want to push and elevate one another. So it
Yeah,
was a meeting that we had a couple weeks back. Um, three other brothers, um, that are in the trucking industry in their own way. So we're just formulating a plan so that we can all come together as one in one united front, so we can help each other and push one business at a time and take it to that next level. So
yeah,
if that means that some of us have to put in different resources, whether that resources be some equipment that we have, some staff members that we have, some money that we have, or just the knowledge and understanding that we have to put forth into that individual business to take them to that next level. And so when they can secure that contract and they're in a place where their business is, off and running, then we're going to go ahead and start moving and working on the next business. And so we're just going to keep doing that until everybody within our network, our group, is in a stable position where the business is really growing and flourishing. And we just want to keep that going and keep pushing and elevating one another. So yeah, to my brother Malik, Snap, and the other brother Michael, yeah, man, we still got to come together and work on some more things. I haven't spoken with Malik the last week or so, but I'm gonna get back with you, Malik, and we gonna make sure we get this thing going, man. But yeah, some good things on the horizon. Good things on the horizon. So I just wanted to encourage our listening audience out there. Hey, get with a team, get with a network of people that you truly like, love, have a belief and faith in, and come together, man. Work together, put your resources together, and push and elevate one another. And you can make some wonderful things happen. But we have to get out of that mentality of being envious and jealous of one another. We have to be coming together and say, hey, man, I love what you're doing, brother, sister. I want to help you take your business to the next level. How can we come together and make that happen? You know, those are the type of discussions that we need to be having. And I'm so grateful for you sharing your insight and your knowledge with us to help us, put ourselves in that position.
Wow. You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So you got your brother Ezra joining us. What's up, Ezra? How we doing? All right. So let's see now. All right. So now let's talk about how did you go about finding your drivers? First thing, let's talk about that.
Well, when we first started, we were on Craigslist. We would put
Okay.
ads on Craigslist, and you know, and wow, I mean, what a response! I got so many phone calls.
Oh yeah.
It was just unbelievable. And and then something started happening where I put out a couple of more ads, and then you know, it. Maybe I should start off like this.
Hmm.
It seems like the drivers kind of came in groups. If I
Okay.
could start it off like that, yeah.
Right.
And so you have one group as what I would call my initial group, and from there, so the first two that I got, there was no ad. They just knew me as an individual and as a person.
Right.
And it was like, hey, will you open up, the opportunity for us to run under your numbers?
Hmm.
And I was like, sure thing. Then after that, one person left off. And then so I had this contract. And so now I had occupancy available. So
Okay.
then I put an ad out on Craigslist because I started figuring out that hey, I can actually do this here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I started, soliciting guys, having them come in, and that worked well for a while. Then, as I was explaining, that contract that we had kind of started falling off a little bit because they just didn't have to work anymore and all different kind of stuff like that. So some
Right.
guys dropped off. Then I put an ad out on Craigslist, and I didn't get as much responses.
Okay.
So what I started to do was actually do um, Facebook,
Okay.
and you can join certain trucking clubs. And I would put my ads out there on Facebook, with these clubs, and they were actually free. And I actually got some of my best drivers from there,
Really.
right there on Facebook. So um, that's when the vetting process was ever so important, because now you're taking in strangers that you don't know, and they're running under your numbers, and you don't know them. Your stuff is squeaky clean, but you don't know how they keep up with their trucks. And so now you have to do a vetting process and, asking them certain questions and trying to get a feel for, what their mentality is and how they think and things like that. Because, ultimately is their truck. But the truth of the matter is that once they leave, they could leave your company and go with another. You're stuck with the damage and you're stuck with the hits. And sometimes you're able to um, repair it quickly, and then other times it takes a long time to repair.
Okay. All right. So, guys, what you're seeing on your screen is Antonio's Facebook business page for AM Truck Enterprises. So, if you want to connect with him, by all means, I'm going to post his link in the comment section. Yeah, by all means, reach out to him. He's more than willing to help you guys out. And I don't know if you're going to be hiring any more drivers anytime soon, but you can always, put your information out there. And when that opportunity presents itself, then, I'm quite sure he will get back in touch with you on that.
Sure.
So, yeah, that's AM Truck Enterprises on Facebook. All right, so guys, let me know if you see that link in the comments section on your Facebook and YouTube side. I think I need to post it on my Facebook page also. Hold on one second. All right, so while I'm doing that, so tell us how you came about finding your dispatcher. Your dispatcher.
Oh, wow. Well, we was going through. I was personally going through a very difficult time.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, um, what was happening? Gabrielle, which is my youngest daughter, was being born, and
Okay.
it put my wife in the hospital early.
Mm-hmm.
And um, so then I had to look and to see, well, who around me can I put, to fill this situation? Because obviously, whoever is coming with the company or whoever I'm coming on, they're going to be working from my home office. And so now I'm given exposure to my household, and I'm very careful about who I bring to my house. So
Yes.
I started looking, amongst the family on who I felt um, qualified the best for it based
Mm-hmm.
upon personality and characteristics. And the person that I found that I felt was the best fit was Tracy, and what she accepted it, and she's been with me for about 2 3 years.
Who's Tracy?
And
Who's
Tracy,
Tracy?
Tracy Green's my sister-in-law.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's been with me for a couple of years. And when she started, she didn't know anything about the trucking.
Mm-hmm.
As skinny as she is, she actually used to unload trucks. That's all she knew.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
But I was able to have her come in and actually train her
Mm-hmm.
on how to dispatch, how to find loads, how to set things up, and she's doing phenomenal. So,
Yeah.
part of the thing about it is that when you have a new company and you're starting, you might not always have the funds and the resources to
Mm-hmm.
do, what a quote unquote professional would do. But if you understand different aspects of your business, and if you have somebody that's willing to learn and that would like to whatever, you can train them for the position.
Okay.
And and it could be a good medium. And as you grow, they grow, and as they
Absolutely.
grow, you grow.
Mm-hmm.
And so now Tracy, she just started her own company as well. Now she just started a dispatching company,
Mm-hmm.
Evelyn LLC.
Okay.
So it's great, So that's basically how I found it. The problem created a solution within itself, you know.
Amen.
So I didn't want to really deal with a stranger in that kind of way,
Yep.
because of what I would be exposing.
Right.
But it was good to be able to have somebody that I could select
Hmm.
um, within my own, area, and train, and and have them go ahead and do what they do.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. Antonio, come a little closer to the camera. You're looking a little blurry there. Let's see if it clears up. Yeah, it's getting better. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's awesome, man. Through you doing that, you've created another opportunity for someone to create employment for themselves and bring in another stream of income. So all of this is happening through your business. So now there's one other member that you had to bring into your business and provide another job opportunity for, and that is with your payroll. So talk to us about that.
Okay, so um, I think at this point we were running about 10 drivers at this point,
Wow.
and I was driving myself. And so if you're driving Monday through Friday,
Mm-hmm.
on Saturday you kind of want to rest.
Yes.
So I did it for as long as I could. I would drive. We would have to stay with Tracy, and she's doing her thing. And it got to a point of where I said, okay, well, I think I need to get somebody in payroll in, because I started noticing that I was making little errors that I wasn't before, you
Okay.
know.
Yep.
So then I started noticing that this was not good for me to continue to do.
Mm-hmm.
I need to delegate this out.
Yep.
So, being once again that my office is from my house,
Mm-hmm.
I needed to look within the people that was around me and
Yeah.
say, okay, well, who could I put in this position to help?
Right.
And Yasmin's other sister from Virginia, she moved up,
Okay.
and she was having some financial issues. So
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, you want a job? And she said, yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Um, so I said, well, she said, well, what is it? I said, it's doing payroll. She said, well,
Mhm.
I don't know how to do that. I said, don't worry, I'll train you how to
Gonna
do that
learn today.
too. Yep, that's
Yeah.
it.
That's
So,
awesome. That's awesome.
so, so that's basically how we grew it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's phenomenal, man. And yeah, when I seen it last week when you showed me, you know, uh, how tedious it is in
yeah,
detail with all the record keeping and record checking. So you check yourself, you check your payroll assistant, and then there's another one that's going to be checked again. So you make sure there are no errors when it comes to paying your drivers.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's really a lot that goes into operating a business. And guys, you really need to understand that. So you're not going to be able to do everything. If you when you first start out, you're probably going to have to try and do everything on your own. But
Hmm.
when you start to grow and expand, you're going to get to a point where you're going to be losing your mind. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And you're going to start having to outsource things and start paying individuals, create opportunities to create employment for others to help you in building and taking your business to that next level. Do not try and do everything on your own. It's not going to work. You're going to burn yourself out. So yeah,
yeah,
you have to start outsourcing some of these things, bring people into your organization, and it's going to just alleviate so much pressure off of you and make things so much easier and less stressful for you. Trust and believe. Trust and believe.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I know that you were at a point where, things were getting really hectic for you.
Mhm.
So talk to us about alleviating some of that stress and how to find that balance when it comes to operating your business, which is 24/7. It doesn't stop. And
Mhm.
then finding that time to have with your family. So how do you make that balance?
Well, what I've learned is that balance is not always day to day,
Hmm.
and not in the business world, because in the business world there's things that just need to be done,
Right.
and you're going to find that there's more time. I think I want to answer it like this: before you begin a business, you need to have priorities, and you need to have foundation and priorities. And what happens with that foundation, which is the first priority, that's what comes primarily first that you're going to direct your attention to.
Uh-huh.
But the needs of the business will come.
Right.
And so I found that the way that balance really works is that there are some times that you're working longer hours, or there are sometimes when you are doing those extra runs because you need to. But then there's also times when you have the availability with the family. So balance is not, like typically working a 9 to 5 job all the time. It depends on what industry you're in.
Mm-hmm.
Balance is solely when you have the time to um to go to the priority or the foundation, you go to that. But then when something else occurs with the business, you take care of that, because you can't neglect the business,
Right.
because there's people that are taking care of their family off of that business. And so
Exactly.
you can't neglect what needs to be done there, because now you just have there's people that can't take care of their family and their responsibilities.
Right.
So basically, balance is simply this: balance is doing what you need to do in the time that you need to do it. And whatever it calls, that's what you have to do. If two things are calling at the same time, then you have to go with the priority and the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So balance for a business individual is not the same as a balance for other people per se. It's a little different.
It is. It.
Yeah. You're going to have those times where you're barely working, and you could spend 2 3 days watching a movie or going on vacation. Then there's going to be other times where you can't watch TV. You got to go home, go to sleep, and get right back up and do it again, because
That's it.
that's what it's calling.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. All right, so guys, yeah, if you have any questions, by all means, put it in the comments section. Antonio will be more than happy to answer those questions for you. For those of you that are in the trucking industry, by all means, please ask your questions. And if you know of someone that is in the industry or is likely to get into it, by all means, like and share, tag them in this video so they can watch it and connect with Antonio and get some more words and the experience on how to set up their business properly and really take it to that next level. So Antonio, let me ask you. I know that you are one that really loves to encourage others to be better and to prosper. So is that something that you do with your drivers in trying to encourage them to create their own business for themselves?
Oh, absolutely. Well, I believe that there's a difference between being a boss and being a leader.
Hmm.
And, being a boss is you telling other people what to do, but being a leader is you lead by example. And
Mm,
so you always want to demonstrate what's correct, not just through words, but also through actions, and not just through action, but through community
Mm-hmm.
and culture. So, what I believe makes a successful company and a place where people can thrive in is a community and a culture. And so, if you are a person that will encourage and other people and inspire people, then you have an atmosphere of positivity, and that's no limits. It's boundaryless. There's no boundaries. You can go as high as you want because the community and the culture is positive and propelling you to whatever it is that you want to do. But if you have a culture and if you have a community where it's a lot of negative and a lot of bad mouthing people and putting this person against that person and cussing people out and all kind of carrying on,
Right.
then you're going to have a oppressive culture. You're going to have an oppressive community, and therefore, who can thrive under a oppressive community? So, I'm always encouraging people to to be more, to aim higher. What do you want to do? And then, more importantly, how can I help you get there?
Okay.
So if we need to talk, let me, I'll share what information I have. If there's, funds, well, let's see how we can set you up with a business line of credit. Let's see how we can um, start critiquing and leading you in a certain kind of way so that you're going in that direction, because you could be a boss of a company, you could tell people what to do, but
Mm-hmm.
I believe that what we need leadership. Um, I'm not going to start with America, but we need leadership.
Yeah.
Leadership. We know where people are,
Right.
but how do we get them from where they are to where they need to go?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what are some of the weaknesses, and let's some people, they say, well, let's just focus on the strengths of an individual, but the issue is that just focusing on your strength, in my opinion, is just not enough all the time, because it's your weaknesses that hold you back.
Okay.
So let's see what those weaknesses are, and maybe not strengthen the weakness, but let's just see if there's an advocate or if there's a way. So let's just say if there's a person um, that might not know how to delegate, well, is there somebody connected to you that does know how to delegate, or can I be that voice to say, hey, it's time to delegate? You know what I mean? All different kind of things. So community, and environment, and culture, um, by nature of the company, produces people to be more and to excel. And then also too, um, those companies have to provide opportunity for that.
Right.
So Tracy, she started off as a coordinator. She didn't know anything, but now she has her own dispatching company.
Yep.
Because I said to her, hey, I wouldn't be offended if you took on some other people. Matter of fact, um, let me show you how to do that.
Oh,
Let me show you how to set up your books and stuff like that. So
okay.
you have a book for AM Truck, you have a book for this company, you have a book for that person. It's going to require some work, but here's how you could keep your stuff in order, generate more revenue for yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
never have to go back to trying to unload a truck ever again. It's better to work from home and you could
Absolutely.
stay in your, pajamas,
Yeah.
better than having to. You shouldn't do that anyway, because but I'm against those practices. But but, but it's better than that. Why work hard for somebody else when you could work hard for yourself? Why
Absolutely.
make somebody else a millionaire, a billionaire,
Mm-hmm.
when you can apply those same efforts and do it for yourself? And there's
Absolutely.
enough resources, there's enough tools, there's enough knowledge to get people wherever they want to go. I mean,
That's
we're
right.
in an information age. There is no shortage of information. It's a matter of a lot of times just going on YouTube and just typing in something, and you
Yep.
can get 20 lectures on something. So
Mhm.
we're in the information age. I think we should use that information, for our benefits.
We have to. We have to. Yeah. All right. So now tell us. All right. So three-part question. We're just going to go with one for now, and then we'll get into other things. All right. So let's say someone is at the ground floor. They're looking to start as an owner operator. How do they go about finding a truck at a reasonable price? And what are some things they need to be aware of when they go to purchase the actual truck?
Mm, okay. When you're getting your first truck,
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend like a Ryder, a Penske, or like a smaller company. Because here's the thing:
Mm-hmm.
a truck is a machine,
Yes.
and machines break.
Right.
And so you don't want to have all of your money tied into the monthly payments. You want to make sure that what you're bringing in weekly is going to be able to cover basically what you need.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally recommend a truck that you could check the maintenance records. I recommend a truck where it's a replicable replicable company.
Mm-hmm.
My preference would be larger companies if you're not going to go with a Ryder or a Penske.
Okay.
Because companies like Warner or Snyder or JB Hunt, they have maintenance schedules. And
Uh-huh.
so every 10,000 miles, they're calling in that truck saying, hey, you got to come back to this yard and we're going to do ABCD with that truck,
Okay.
because that's how they operate.
Right.
Um, so that's what I would recommend with so you don't want anything too high. A lot of I've seen other people that were owner operators fail, and I think they're one of the reasons why they fell. The most common is their monthly payments are too high for that truck,
Okay.
and they're forced into a situation where they have to live behind the wheel of that truck in order to keep up with the payments.
Right.
I know one guy that was making payments of like $2,500 a month
What?
for the truck. Yeah, absolutely. That's too high. That's too high. That's too much money. So,
And that's
um,
not including insurance?
not including insurance.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Get it.
so, and then the other thing that I would recommend is when you first get a truck, depending on the year,
Mm-hmm.
don't depend on the person that had the truck before you to keep it up with the way that it should be.
Right.
You know, um, when those PMs are coming in, look through those hoses, look through those lines, inspect your equipment because this is your moneymaker. This is your bread and your butter,
Yes.
and you don't want to break down on the side of the road. You know, so take the time to look at everything, make sure nothing is rusted and cracked, and make sure the rubber is good on there. You know, different things like that.
Okay.
Um, Once you have a couple of trucks underneath your belt, I personally would recommend the auction. It's a little more risky, but as you have a couple underneath your belt, you kind of have something to kind of fall back on a little bit, So um, the general idea is that you don't want to spend a tremendous. Oh, another thing too, trucks are not like cars. So usually with a car, when it gets to a certain age, you get rid of it. You know,
Right.
It's such and such age. I don't want it anymore. Blah 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 blah. Well, in trucking, it doesn't quite work like that. One of my drivers up there in Connecticut, his truck is a 1985 and still running strong. His truck is a show truck, and he keeps good care of his truck, and it lasts. So trucks are not like, so. For example, to replace a motor on a truck will be about $18,000. But that $18,000 will last you for 1,000,000 miles.
Okay.
1,000,000 miles is about 10 to 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
So with that one rebuild, if you keep up with the maintenance with it and pretty much do what you're supposed to, that's going to last you 10 to 15 years. So it doesn't really make too much sense to buy a truck that's, you know, $24,000 or $25,000 and it has 500,000 miles. You're going to have to do that anyway. You see what I mean? So
Okay.
basically, the mindset is a little bit different than with a truck. Every 7 to 10 years, you're going to have to mess with the alternator and the starter. Anyway, it doesn't matter what truck you get, whether it's a 2014, a 2020, or whether it's a 2004. So basically, um, if the truck and the motor and if the truck is maintained properly, it'll last you a very long time.
Okay.
So
All right. So now going with the rules and regulations. All right. So what do they need as far as the DOT number, MC number, and all that stuff? So what is needed now? We got the truck.
oh, okay. So once you get the truck, I would recommend that this is going to sound a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get the truck, take it to a mechanic.
Okay.
Get an oil analysis on there.
Get a what?
Because oil analysis.
Okay.
Because that oil analysis is going to tell you what condition that motor's in.
Okay.
So once you have that analysis, now you start knowing how to put up your money. Now you can kind of start budgeting yourself and starting to see, well, okay, I need to put a little bit more up, or I could put a little less up, because now once you got the truck, you're kind of doing a little bit more internal, really looking at the condition of it, So so like the truck that I have, that truck has probably about like 1,000,000 miles on there and still running strong.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is 1,000,000 miles on an overhaul. Total, it has over 1.5 million miles.
Wow.
And still running strong. But every 10,000 miles, I'm doing the maintenance. I'm doing a rigorous maintenance schedule in which I set up in the calendar. So once you get your truck and you do your oil analysis, and now you could kind of start knowing how to budget your money, what money to put aside, and kind of how to handle yourself. Now what you want to do is you probably should have the EIN number first, or your business name first, in place. But you would want to get that, then what you would want to do is you would want to, if you're want to be a motor carrier, you want to have your MC number in place and your US DOT number in place. If you're not ready to go that far, then what you should do is go ahead and start looking into registrations. Now, when you lease onto a company, some companies will provide you tags, they call it. And your tags is registration and also plates. We do provide that for our drivers, if they want it, but basically the main idea is you want to have that truck in place, depending on what you being a owner operator, and depending on if you're being a MC or wanting to be a motor carrier, that's where where it's going to vary quite a bit.
Okay.
If you want to be, so this is what it would look like with the MC number. What you want to have is your EIN number. You
Mm-hmm.
want to have your truck. You want to get an oil analysis on there, knowing the
Okay.
condition of it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you want to get an inspection on that truck because you
Right.
can't run the roads with a truck with no inspection on there.
Yes.
Then what you want to do is you want to get your plates on there.
Okay.
Um, well, you want to get your insurance first, work out a good insurance quote, what have you,
Mm-hmm.
and then you want to get your plates because you can't get your plates without your insurance, without having your insurance
Okay.
on the truck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then from there, is however you want to do. Also, what you would need is your IFTA number. Your IFTA account. Your IFTA is your tax. It goes on the side of the truck for the year. So basically, every quarter you have to pay taxes or receive taxes on the states that you ran and how much fuel that you put on the truck. Also, before you start driving your truck, you should have a ELD as well. The ELD is an electronic log device. That device is so that you can log your on duty, off duty, sleeper berth, and driving things, FMCSA or DOT. If they
Mm-hmm.
catch you driving without a electronic log, if your truck is 2000 or newer, you're going to have a problem. Also, what you want to keep in your truck is you want to keep spare logs in your truck as well, paper logs, just in
Okay.
case the ELD breaks down, you
Okay.
and it's not working.
Right.
The DOT pulls you over and they say, okay, well, um, you know, um, where's your ELD? Well, my ELD broke. And they're going to say, okay, well, where's your logs? Where's your paper logs? You know, and even if the ELD is working, they're still going to ask for the paper logs
Really?
when they DOT. Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So you have to keep both?
Absolutely.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's
All right.
going to be part of our checklist.
All right. All right. Good.
But yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was not aware of that. All right. So
Hmm.
how many hours are we allowed to drive per day?
11.
11.
Mm-hmm. 10
And
and
we
a
have
half.
down for how many hours?
10 hours before you can start driving again on a daily,
Mhm.
34 hours for a reset.
What do you mean a reset?
So the DOT gives you X amount of hours that you can drive in a day.
Okay.
I mean, not in a day, a week. I'm sorry. So it might be 60 hours. It might be 70, depending on how the company is set up. And
Mhm.
then basically what they will do is, they will, um, uh, once you get to that point, you have to take a 34-hour reset, which is about a day and a half before
Oh,
you can start driving again. Once you get to your 60 or 70,
oh,
depending on how they're set up.
all right. All right. Cool. Yeah, so yeah, it's a lot to this, and the rules and regulations are getting more and more stringent by the day. So yeah, there is a lot to learn in the trucking industry. So yeah, I'm just glad that you're sharing all this information with us. Yes, yes, yes.
Um, you have your drug test forms as well, and also well um, is whenever you're a FMCSA motor carrier, it's mandatory that you register with drug tests and also alcohol. Is FMCSA or DOT will send a random, um, select one of your drivers randomly and will request them to take a drug test or alcohol
Okay.
test, pretty much on the spot for the most part. So, so you want to be set up with that. Then also there's the clearinghouse, which they just had instituted that. I believe it was earlier this year or
Uh-huh.
late last year, where you're a carrier, um, you have to be set up with the clearinghouse as well, which is also part of drug and alcohol. You have your MCS biennial filings. So it's a lot. I mean, it's like the list just kind of goes on and on. But the key thing about it is to always have a good email. Have an email where all that stuff is coming to, because they're
Okay.
going to let you know when that stuff is up and when it's expired and when it's getting close.
All right.
So as long as you have an email and you're checking it, reasonably,
Mhm.
they're going to let you know what's due.
All right. So would you recommend just having one specific email for your trucking business?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a I would word it like this. I think every business should have their own separate um email,
Right.
because what that does is it helps keep everything organized. So for
Yes.
me personally, I have amtruckenterprises at gmail.com. All of my business stuff goes there. And then you
Okay.
have Antonio K. McCray at gmail.com. That's where all of my personal stuff go. And
Got
then, I have another email for stuff like for speaking engagements and stuff like that. That goes to that email. So
Okay.
basically, when receipts come in, I print them out. It goes automatically to my business email. If I can't find a receipt, or God forbid something happens, whatever, all I have to do is go inside that business email and it's right there.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Awesome. Yeah. Come a little closer. You're getting blurry again.
Okay.
All right. So last question for you, and then we're going to open it up for Q&A if anybody has any questions. All right. So how has this pandemic that we're going through, COVID-19, how has that affected your business?
COVID-19 made the trucking business very slow in March, April, and May.
Hmm.
Um, and the reason why is because trucking is supply and demand. So the more there's like this gauge, it looks almost like a car uh, RPM or MH on there, how it has 0 to 120,
Right.
and then so it'll show of where um, who has the buying power.
Okay.
So when there's more freight than there are trucks, the buying power goes to the motor carriers and they make the money.
Right.
When there's more trucks than there are freight, then that's when it goes into the shipper and then they start paying less.
Yes.
So what happened during the pandemic was is that being that all the businesses had slowed down, uh, it made the shippers have all the buying power.
Hmm.
So that means that drivers were pretty much running for much of nothing, to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Right now, everything is great because the country was shut down for 2, 3 months, what have you, or the states were for 2, 3 months. So now, what that means is that all of it now, now you have all this extra freight, and is freight everywhere. I mean, you're talking about 3,000 loads coming out of Pennsylvania, which is unheard of. I've never seen it that much. And
Really?
you could go 20, 30 miles and make $500, you
Hmm.
know, which is unheard of. So I have a load tomorrow picking up in Camp Hill going to Easton. I think is what, like 80 miles or something like that. It's paying me $600, or
Ooh,
driving an hour and a half. That's
nice.
not right.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
yeah.
But we're still not all the way back as far as getting work and supply and demand. It's still we're not
Hmm.
near where we were a couple years ago, but still in all, there's great opportunities out there now for those in the trucking industry to make money
Hmm.
out there. So yeah, guys, I want to encourage each and every one of you, to go out there and, talk to those individuals. If you don't have access to these resources for yourself, find out how you can get access to these loads so you can get your wheels in motion and start making some of this money that is out there. It's out there. We just have to communicate and find people that are going to be willing to share this information with us and, partner up with them and, create a greater income for yourself. And that's what it's all about. We have to network. We have to work with one another. So with that being said, we're going to open it up for Q&A. So if anyone has any questions that they would like to ask Antonio before we close it out, please, by all means, leave your comments in the comment section below, and we will answer them to the best of our ability. Yes, so yeah, Antonio, just man, proud of you, man. I really am. I just see how you really built your business up, how you interact with your family, your kids, your wife, and bringing in your wife's sisters to be a part of the business. There's a big man.
Say hi, Antonio.
Hi.
Hey, Antonio Jr. How are you, man?
Good.
Had to make your guest star appearance.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I just love how you find that time to be with your family and still create a very productive business and creating more opportunities for those in need of work as well. So hats off to you, my brother. You're doing an excellent job. Keep up the great work. And, like we've been saying and talking about, we're going to do whatever we can to support one another and, just help us evolve and take it to the next level.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right, guys, we're going to give you a couple more seconds to type in your questions if you have any before we close things out. So, Tony, do you have any closing words or remarks that you want to share before we close things out?
Hmm. Well, I think that it's important to continue to build. I think that one of the greatest keys to a successful business is alliances, and healthy alliances with people that care about your business and also yourself.
Right.
Um, when people care about you as an individual, um, it strengthens the business because you're the one that's making the business is what it is. So what I would recommend is um, healthy alliances.
Right.
Looking for those individuals that you can partner with
Hmm.
and bring things together with, and mash together so that there can be a good outcome. As far as the trucking goes, there is a lot of money in the trucking, um, and also too, to those that's not in trucking but are business owners. You know, when when the pressures of the business get on you, make sure you take the time to rest.
Yes.
Because rest creates creativity, and it also breeds innovation. And so,
Hmm.
whenever there's a lack of creativity and innovation, it could be an indication that you might need to just take a little break and be creative again. If you're creative enough to start it, there's new creation in there to ramp things different than what they ever were before.
Hmm.
So, rest breeds revelation,
Wow.
rest breeds creation and innovation
Amen.
and clarity.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah. And, just piggybacking off of that, having a business is rough. It's a 24/7, it's nonstop. So, yes, you have to take that time out to kind of recoup, re energize yourself, and recharge the battery, so to speak, because it becomes very stressful, uh, it's very time consuming, and you're going to find yourself putting a lot of your time and resources into building and establishing your business. So you're going to um, oftentimes you might not be cognizant of it, but
hmm
you're going to start to how should I say, neglect some of those things like your family, your loved ones, not intentionally, but you're so consumed, you're so
right,
focused on trying to build up your business, but unintentionally you're neglecting some of the needs of your family. So it's very important that you take that time out, take a step back, analyze things, look at your total surroundings, not just the business end of it, but
hmm
your family, your friends, your loved ones, everything. Just take
right,
a step back and just give yourself the opportunity to breathe and look at things. Evaluate yourself. See where
yeah,
you're at. What can you do to improve yourself and taking yourself to that place in which you desire to be? So when you're so caught up in running, ripping and running, trying to build your
yeah,
business, and you don't take that step back to look and analyze things,
hmm
what you're going to start to notice is things are going to start to deteriorate
that's
within
right.
the business and as well within your family. So you don't want that. So it is imperative that every now and then, when you feel that stress coming on, you feel like things are just being very overwhelming, take a pause,
hmm
take a deep breath, go find you a nice little relaxing place and just get away for a little bit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and just reflect and say, okay, I see that I'm at a point where, having some struggles, some things are not going according to plan. So I need to reevaluate things and get myself back on track.
that's it.
Yeah. So, we all have to do it. We have to self-evaluate ourselves in everything that we do. And, when we don't take that time out to really think about things and, like you said, get that rest, which will bring forth clarity and revelations, then we're just going to be in that constant whirlwind where we're not getting the results that we really want.
Absolutely,
Hmm. Hmm.
absolutely.
Yes, 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 my brother. So yeah, once again, I just want to thank you for coming on board and sharing your insight, knowledge, and all of your experiences. And I think we are all better from it. So I don't see any questions. Let me just make sure. Yeah, I don't see any questions in the comment section. So I think we can close things out for this evening. Wow, we run up to an hour and a half. But yeah, it was good. It
Wow,
was good, man. Yeah.
wow.
So yeah, anything you want to say before we close out?
No, oh, I'm all out.
All right.
Well,
All right.
I could, but it'll be here all night. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, man, like I talked with you the other day, I really want to do something with us where we come on, I don't know, maybe I don't know if it's weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly. We just come on and have a business talk, conversation and invite some other people to come on board, and we have a discussion on networking, empowering, and things that we can do to help one another and grow and prosper with our own specific businesses. So, guys
Absolutely.
that are out there listening, if you want to be a part of that, hey, leave us a comment. And we really want to think about putting something together like that and just have a nice dialogue, a roundtable
Mhm.
discussion online, and see what we can do to help one another to grow and to prosper. So that's what it's all about. All right. All right, folks. So that is it. We're going to wrap things up for this evening. So, on behalf of Antonio McCray from AM Truck Enterprises, this is Rob McCray for the Business Building Network. And I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy day to spend some time with us during this discussion. I hope you enjoyed it and got some good information from it.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
we are here every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Come Up. You can watch us here on Facebook or also on my YouTube channel. You can see the link to my YouTube channel scrolling in the banner at the bottom of the screen. So yeah, by all means, go over to my YouTube channel. I have a bunch of different videos on
Mhm.
different strategies and tips to help you and grow, build, and market your business and get you the results that you are truly looking for. So we're going to close things out for this evening, but I just want to thank you guys again for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you next Thursday once again at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Come Up. Good night, everybody, and God bless.
Good night.